Welcome back, everybody. It's DWG versus TALON about to begin, and we're going to kick it off. TALON are looking to secure a higher position, but DWG, they want to make it to the Major too. It was kind of lacking not seeing them in our last one in Charlotte, so a long line between the two. This can be a big decider. Let's talk about DWG first and put them out of the way. A lot of people consider them best team in APAC North.
And I would have to agree with them. I've got to be brutally honest. I think DWG are a feared team when it comes internationally, and that's probably the first time that's happened since the Fnatic of 2019 kind of times. And why wouldn't you fear them? Yas is probably one of the most gifted players in APAC North, but it's not just Yas. Yas had a quiet 6 Invitational. It was Woogieman who turned up there. Rin, Mexico Major. I keep saying it. This team is a team full of superstars. Solid strategy, superstars, a lot of trust in their play, and they can just roll over teams simply, as we saw last week against Fab Gaming on Border, is when it comes down to it, they've just got the gun skill and they trust themselves to go and do it.
All right, and let's talk about their opponents on the other side, TALON, that look to be pretty powerful challengers in this stage.
Yeah, both Misa and Marble coming into the team, they have been doing well as a group. I don't think that so far they've gone up against the strongest opponents. I mean, they played against Fab and they played against Spear, so they haven't gone up against maybe the most mechanical talented opponents, but they still played pretty much the same way that they did last stage. Now is the time to show what they really got, though. This is the game where they kind of need to take points. Both me and Jack agree, Damwon is the best team in the league. This is the game where if you grab points, that's a really good thing for you fighting for the second spot.
I mean, all 3 points would be incredible, but even for TALON, taking DWG to overtime would also be a good thing. So when it's two Titans like this fighting together or against one another, there's a lot of variables that we have to look out for. And one of them is also who can really show up on this day. And I'm told that we have a head-to-head.
We do.
We're going to bring that up and compare the players. I'm really wondering which two you guys picked up. It's Yas and Demic. So what's the comparison to look for here, Bobby?
These players have been the ones that have stepped up this stage so far for both their teams. They aren't playing exactly the same roles, but it's basically that they are just showing up Playday after Playday. Last stage, this stage, these guys shine through every time they step foot on the server, and both of them are obviously showing it on the EPS, 137 each. Very strong.
It's pretty good.
I think Demic had a really, really poor first stage with TALON.
Yep.
Like stage 3 last year, he was genuinely, he found it really hard to settle in. Both Hedy and Demic, when they came into this roster, found it very hard to settle in. And they really came alive in stage 1. And then they really came alive in stage 2. And they just keep stepping it up. And TALON have had this such transformation in the past 6 months. And Hedy and Demic in particular have been at the forefront of that.
I wonder if it's actually from both Hedy and Demic that they've started to get more of a different play style.
Yeah.
And they started to adapt the way that they see the game. And in terms made the team more consistent. I mean, had this experience that he's been around forever. Like,
yeah.
I feel like he's been around as long as I have. And I've been around since dinosaurs walked on the planet.
I mean, he competed back in those days. I
remember Mantis FPS.
Exactly.
Yeah,
2017 when they lost, was it back then? We're playing, was it 5-2 or 5-2 back then? That was before the 6
consulate.
The 6 change had not happened yet, let alone the 7 that we have to win a game. So we're talking Sao Paulo 2017 PowerPoint Pro League.
Yeah, he has all that experience to actually just push through what he knows from international gameplay. And I think that the team itself has just stabilized.
Who would have thought? Experienced players can improve rosters, Fabian.
Who
would have thought it?
I have no idea.
Somebody
what you're
tell
talking.
EU. Sorry, we can't go through an APAC broadcast without referencing
We need to
EU.
stop hating on EU. They're
Why?
so bad that everyone else can hate on them.
We can just like other things instead of, you know?
And
I
love the impact Hedy and Demic have had on this roster. There we go.
And I want to see what impact this map is going to have on the series, because with two teams like this, it can have a lot of impact on this game. So let's pull it up. A 9-map pool, 8 are out, 1 is left, and that'll be Oregon, where TALON will take us to. Skyscraper has been removed by them, and they'll be starting off on the attack, as Damwon has picked up defense.
One thing TALON were excellent at in Playday 2, and bear in mind their opponents Playday 2, Fabian said, you know, you can't consider their opponents because it's a little bit weaker. They were still clearing power positions so effectively through the use of drones and utility. And I think Marble, about half of his kills in that game was from nades and from information. Now, Oregon's a very similar map where you've got to clear out a lot of power positions up on the top floor with nades, and also on that basement site, there are a lot of power positions. So I'm hoping for TALON that they play it systematically, slice and dice up the defense, and then clear it out with utility.
We basically had exactly the same point, because that was exactly what I was going to mention.
Are you stealing his notes?
On this.
No, to put it short, their coordination, Oregon is a map where coordination is key. We basically want to see that you do everything as a team and you execute at the same time. Because if you don't execute at the same time, you'll end up like Fnatic and not win any attacks. So both of these teams have the capability to do both of those things. So I think it's probably the perfect map to bring these two teams against each other on, because it shows which team has the better base strats, and then add on top of that which team can coordinate their attacks better against their opponent's defense. For me, Oregon is the perfect map to see these two games.
I feel like this is going to be such a very close game. I feel like Damwon will just edge it out, but I feel like it's going to be such a very close game. Like you say, between strategy, between synergies, between the overall team play, the composition, and also the coordination between the team. And then I feel like Damwon Kia's edge is just the fact that they've got 3 or 4 more experienced and better gunners.
You think they're going to be good at droning?
Both these teams are good at droning. Who would have thought?
Just trying to trigger him, right? Yeah.
It's like Vietnam.
It's working
all over again. I hear the helicopter. No, but both of these teams are sound basics. Like, they have everything that it needs. And I don't think that the basic is what's going to pull these guys apart. It's going to be the specifics when it comes to coordination. That's it.
All right, let's see if we'll get an overtime here, or it'll be as close as you guys are predicting it to be. It's TALON versus DWG Kia. We're going to go to Oregon to kick it all off. TALON on attack, and our beautiful casters are awaiting. It's Hap&M. Enjoy.
Well, thank you, Milos. It is Hap&M, and we're here with APAC North, and we're here with DWG Kia versus TALON on Oregon.
Yes, it's going to be a very basic-ish map, a map that's been around for a long time for players that have been around for a very long time, where we might decide a top 2 to come in very soon.
Oh, imagine the scenes. Top 2, I was thinking about it as I was looking at the list, because it's strange to think now of a major where you don't have DWG Kia, you don't have Sandbox, and you don't have at least Cyclops.
Yes.
And now we'll only have 2 of those outside of potentially the biggie, SI.
Yeah, there's an opportunity to get more teams from APAC North there. That's true. But yeah, only 2 of APAC North have the opportunity of going through. And well, to be fair, after we saw how that went last stage, when only 1 managed to make it.
Yeah, it wasn't a great advertisement. For me to be like, we always have these teams, and then for us to not have those teams.
Exactly. So for the teams that missed out, DWG Kia, for example, they'll more than likely be happy because they do dominate APAC North. I'm never really into too much trouble here, so if they do manage to dispatch of TALON here today, that will be another 3 points on the board and securing themselves in first place for just a little bit longer. And yes, it is only Playday 3. Nothing is decided after today, but you definitely will start to see that table become and get bigger gaps in between the players or teams that are chasing and the teams that are currently established.
Mira is allowed to be played in general, obviously not in this game. It's probably worth mentioning. As people know, she was sidelined due to a issue.
Yep.
That her mirrors had slightly gone a bit thinner and weren't quite protecting from the explosives. They are now good. And she's back. This is the second player because NL, they were allowed to play her, I believe, last night.
It's good to see that Mira might be back on the board here today, but not now, not yet. Not here on Oregon. And as we see the default setup starting to emerge again, it is that basement. It's almost always that basement. It's either this or the bedrooms upstairs to go for that very first site, but DWG Kia seems to be preferring the bottom floor first, making sure those hatches are cleared, taken care of, reinforced, forced them to use that utility, and maybe set up a bit of a roam up on that top floor as I saw some new jammers to be put up.
Now, it's always worth sort of citing that DWG Kia are, for expectations money, the team that are going to take this. They can play Oregon. They've had heartbreak on Oregon. They had one of the closest games. The loss, I think it was at the Sweden Major, where it came down to a 1 versus 1 on that last round as the difference between them and the finalists. You know, it's that sort of story that they've had a lot of run with. But if TALON can take this game, they've done, you know, sure, they've had 2 easy openings for people's money, but suddenly they're in one of those top 2 spots and they're looking very good in it.
That's this game. This game is going to be deciding who's looking the best for those top 2 spots as we continue. Yes, misses the first engagement here. Marble will be able to make it out. Impact's tossed in, no damage done. Yes, will be able to make it out alive, no damage done. However, Hetty waiting for him on the white window. He's going to be catching him, but not completely.
It's a bit of a gamble there. He went for the double peek at the same time. Soldier caught out. The swing round of Woogieman with the shotgun, locked and loaded up the top floor. Now, they went for a little bit of a multifaceted push there. 3 of the bodies, potentially even 4, were trying to lock down, and they hoped the Jackal would be able to at least find maybe a loose thread. But there was 2 loose threads, and they were more than happy to try and find them. Misa's going to see if they can step into the space. Takes the fight, takes a huge amount of damage. Woogieman does as well, and, you know, Woogieman has already done a bit of his own work up here. The Mute, you're playing so far away from the site at this point. All the things that you can take out of them, whether it's time or blood, it's still big wins. And here, Hetty's had to rotate round as well over the double window, and they're able to at least secure a bit of revenge earlier, but take a lot of damage in that journey.
Wanted to get that top floor under control, and importantly so as well. You don't want Woogieman to start roaming around from that top, starting to head towards that first floor as you're preparing your hatches as well. So good call that they managed to take it out. A lot of damage done though, and with the Finka being banned, there is no opportunity to heal yourselves back up, whereas the defense of course could be going for a Thunderbird or a Dock anywhere later on. Marble might have been spotted there actually inside the freezer. Do see the Damonkia players falling back, and Rin looking to set himself up in a bit of a more aggressive position.
Well, the hatch is getting popped just now on the swing. Just going to try and get some control over that, the important little corner onto Freezer. It seems like they're setting themselves up for that laundry plant. It's not the easiest. You've got to sort of tuck yourself in, and you just need a presence here over E-Box, which is coming through. Yes, going for the rotate on the call on the intel. Talon, though, with 45 seconds, where Misa is and how little health they have. When you're up against Coded on that smoke, you really have to try and make this stick. Yes. Make something else. Takes care of Hetty. And now they lose that Maverick who's doing work on the other side. A spray round, a great bit of control here from Yas, who has been a little bit more electric this season than on otherwise previous engagements. Misa goes for the drop. They don't quite get themselves all the way in yet, but with 20 seconds and a bit of a spray close and slightly further away, and there's the kick cold. There's a Damonkia round.
Damonkia quite comfortably into this first round here. It started off with that top floor being a bit of an issue. You said the Jackal wants to find someone, well, found 2, but unable to connect any of the shots and losing the life as a result. Forced them to take that top floor into their own hands. Wasted a bit of time. After that, they needed to try and push in. The 4 members of Damonkia still ready to go, ready to fire. And were able to shut down Talon's attack. Their first attempt. Now, we're headed up towards the top floor now. Completely different kind of site to go at. Might see grenades be more prevalent here, especially from below if they do manage to get that under control. Think of, for example, taking care of that Mew Gemmer onto the breach, but potentially as well, getting some inside of the bedrooms and bunks, just in case people would be hiding there.
It's that sort of worrying first round, I think, for Talon. Okay, let's have a little look back at Damonkia on the previous split, where it wasn't the most convincing Damonkia we've seen. They were a bit disheartened, I think, as the easiest way of putting it. They didn't have the same aggression. The passion and the way they love to attack and approach the map on their opponents was a little bit missing, and you could kind of feel that frustration through the screen. Here, this split so far, the only undefeated team in APAC North at this moment, with all the full points. They're feeling like that old Damonkia. They're feeling like they're being a lot more possessive over what they want to hold onto on the map itself. They're being adventurous, and they're being aggressive, and that's that worrying thing when you're anyone that has to go up against them, because if they found their mojo again, oh, that's groovy, baby.
Damonkia, they kind of need to play like this. This is how they're at their best. They need to force enemies to respect them, and with that, give them that space that they so desire. Of course, it is up to the other teams to play into that and not give them what they want, because Damonkia, if they do start taking that ground, it's very easily to get overwhelmed here, especially with fraggers like, well, Yas and now Woogieman finding his groove as well, and Rin always there to support. It's just a star roster on the side of APAC North.
Well, Yas has himself a rotation here over Attic. It's not the most common way of having that already open and trying to be in control of the other side of tower, but you can see Talon, they wanted to go for something short and sharp here. All the drones were set up around Trophy. They've obviously got the Valk cams in, and they've been able to get themselves close enough, but then the Nook sort of hit a moment of, okay, well, I don't want to dive entirely through. That is a very well-placed cam. Tucked behind the fan blades, not quite caught out. They know the Hibana's there. They could go for something aggressive, but they don't know the Nook is there. Unless they just got a sight there, because if they drop it inside the range and proximity, there's a ping towards where that camera is, and, well, there's Talon, a minute 30, and plan A is down the drain.
Yeah, they still haven't cleared out the mute jammer, I believe, so that means that they're enabled. It's going to be a huge kill onto Rin. That grenade was meant to get rid of the mute jammer. That means that stays on now. They cannot open up that main breach. Misa will have to go elsewhere now. They might have to force themselves through the door in a window.
Oh, that is just that moment, that strike. That is Damwon, and that is the terrifying nature of the marble. They've pulled themselves back towards the bottom of white. They're going to see if they can just get that intel on that player on the swing. Hits them, and, well, there's a second. The swing round onto dining. But again, we're under a minute left now. They have air jabs. They have a bit of control, but that's really it. They don't have anything locked in towards the site. Heady's just going to have to try and deep dive and see if they can swing their way through. And maybe they're actually going to go for the wider attic rotation at this point, which again, by the time he gets there and starts to burn a hole through, there's going to be no more time. It got relocked. Heady's going to make it work. He'll have about 20 seconds to do the distance. There's 3 players, and Yas is one of them, who decides he wants to go the other way through it. Has his opening again. 5 versus 3, 30 seconds.
There's not a lot of time left. They did make a small opening now. Now, this grenade is going to be absolutely crucial, but I believe it bounced off. Actually got zapped by the ADS there, so it's not going to be getting anything. Woogieman goes aggressive. Coded will be able to find a kill as well, and it's only left up to Demic now on these white stairs. Can he clutch it out in a 1v5? The answer is no. A flawless round for Damwon.
I mean, it's just terrifying. This is the Damwon Kia that you sort of missed last split. This is the Damwon Kia that kind of shows that they're the strongest team in this region and can be one of the strongest teams in potentially any region when they're on their game. It's not just about their positioning. It's not just about the holes that they're doing, but the coordination and comms.
Yeah.
The rotation there of Rin. Round up from Laundry Stairs to get the kill onto the person removing the mute jammer. The play around Yas of how long he could sit around in tower before he pulled himself back, before he swung back in. All of that built on those Valkyrie cams, the calls, the comms. We saw pretty much every single time our observer went to a cut of Damwon Kia, somebody was on a Valkyrie cam getting that intel.
That was it, and they realized as well, hey, the big tower's about to be pushed. They're going to go opening it with a Maverick. Yas is there to respond, and that is just because they play that information game so well. Really struggling, Talon that is, with those Valkyrie cams, with the information that Damwon Kia has on them. And I'm wondering to see, you know, if they continue to struggle, how long will it take for them to start picking up an IQ, for example? It's not an operator you often see, but it might be necessary in this cases, because after that, you know, they went for a blind spray through to get the mute jammer. They did manage to succeed it, but you might be able to be more efficient if you have that scanner. You can just one-tap it away.
Now, with the Oster on the board, it paints the idea of a plant onto stage. You sort of get yourself stacked up on T2 and T1 with those Oster shields, one covering the control of attic, because if you don't have that, well, they can just swing down and get you, and the other one controlling the plant itself. Katsang, in the meantime, a very early play on the smoke, just going to see if they can actually rotate their way out of it, finds themselves into an semblance of safety. For them, Katsang, that's a little bit of a blow. I don't think he wanted to be caught out where he was, but he's had to use one of his canisters, which, against an Oster plant on stage, is vital late game utility.
Yes, but him being alive is more important than him dying in that tower, not able to use any of it. I believe that is both Valkyrie cameras now taken out onto that tower, so they lack the information out there. No opportunity to try and go back for a bit of a flank. Still players around in the attic, though, so as soon as they do start to put pressure down on that area, might be able to get some gunfire through. Oh, that is devastating.
Jeez, there it is. The shotgun swings. Rin's able to find Heady at the same time. Within a breath, they've lost the Oster from the big plant, and they've lost their Maverick as a way of trying to get control of the potential of the walls against those mute jammers. Misa, they're now going to see if they can try and take over the top. They do still have the 2 exothermics, but you've got to make them count where you play them, and you know you're going to at least have to have a breach onto that stage side. The play in the grenade round on the opposite, just going to go for a close bounce, but at this point they've pulled themselves out. Marble, they swing up. If they're looking like they're just going to try and strong-arm their way through, they're going to meet Yas very quickly. You've got Katsang on the swing round, and, well, with the shotgun ready to go, they're hoping that they go for the aggression.
This is Nitro cells still available on the side of Yes. So as soon as he realizes one is coming through the green door, might be able to blow a marble up there. Potentially Demic as well, depending on when they do start to move. But it's still a 5-on-3 situation. Yes, trying to fall back there, might have almost got caught off. Flashbang's coming through. Grenade should be able to get Katzing if he stands up. That's the most unfortunate timing.
Oh yeah, that's one of them siege timing things. It's now suddenly a 3 versus 3 at the same time. Yas got caught out behind the shield, so Rin is going to take up the mantle. They have the breach open. That's that important part with the exothermic, but with the Ossa off the board, it becomes such a dangerous place to try and stick it. You have a little bit of visual cover, but not a lot of bullet cover. There's no way that you can really tuck yourself in, and you can see that Mies is going to see if he can make a movement. Boogeyman has a disagreement with that idea with the shield on the corner. There isn't quite that full swing round onto split, so they're going to see if they can try and pick up sticks and go a little bit wider. 20 seconds now. And they're really trying to recollect a cold kit in the 3 versus 2. The rotation through onto the kitchen side. It's really their only option, but you can see the pings are continual and it's coming through that intel game. There's Niana gone. There's Coated with one more. The spray against the door from Demic. The Zofia can keep going, but at that same point, with only a flicker of health, 3 other players and 5 seconds, you can get one, but there's 2 more and a kit to put down. It's 3-0 DK.
There it is, the ACS coming in at the end there. Found the thermite now. The second kill as well to lock it off. 3-0. Down one Kia. It started off strong. They managed to get that double entry onto the offset. That is devastating. There's basically the entire attack gone to some extent. You can no longer plant safely there. So it might have been a bit too over-aggressive there. Losing your Maverick at the same time, troublesome, but not the end of the world, especially with the way it was set up. They managed to bring it back well. Those 2 kills, but eventually they took too much time. They should have probably just pushed into the kitchen earlier on when they realized it was safe and no one was out there, but instead they still try to go for a stage plan, then that really hurt them. Tech timeout. Talon.
Yeah, a moment to talk.
Rightfully so.
You go 3-0 down on your attack on Oregon. Oregon can be a good balanced fight between teams, but you usually expect to at least get the tertiary site. And it's also the manner in which this is happening. I think one of the things that we're seeing from the side of Damwon Kia, if I'm going to compliment them as I've been doing, is that intel game is really, really strong. Talon, sometimes it feels like a little bit of missed opportunities. That round had some of the best capitalizing on it. The kill onto Yas at the same time as the grenade through the drone hole was because they were finally able to get some proper intel on the positioning to the Damwon Kia players. You look at the previous 2 rounds, how many deaths were from a DK player just swinging an angle Talon wasn't expecting?
It starts with the Ossa, shotgun coming around the corner, taking you out before you can even get the Talon shield down, and it just builds on there. Unfortunately for the side of Talon, who really want to hold on to the 2nd place. They really want to be top 2 because that's where everything is to be gained. We usually always talked about top 4. That's gone now. It is just top 2, an instant ticket to Berlin in that case, and whoever wins this is most likely to go. Whoever loses this will still be in 2nd place, but certainly the rest of the league has the opportunity to catch up to you today.
Jackal back on the board here for the attempt on the take, but it seems like a more controlled hold from Damwon Kia.
No. Controlled adapt, yes. Just the run out coming through, taking down Soldier. The Jackal again, the first to fall.
I was literally about to say controlled hold because all of them are in the basement as Rin swings up.
Just runs out the
gets
front
a kill,
door.
And then goes up to the top floor. My point was going to stand if Rin hadn't then massively disagreed that Rin wanted to not be in a controlled position and wanted to be on the top floor.
If anything, this is control. Keeping Talon down, making sure they cannot even launch any attack or get some information with that Jackal, because he hasn't even been able to enter the building yet. We're just running up to it. So Rin's trying to quickly get the Electric Claw sorted. Done. Needs to be careful for a potential grenade to come around, though. That could take it out. But quick control being gained here by Talon. Even though they just lost an early member, they are working on that 1st floor. I'm not sure if someone is still up on that 3rd, but there's 2 people on the back stairs here, on that tower. Does Airjab Wolf push one away, potentially? 2 actually set up. Bit of an aggressive angle by Boogeyman here.
It's the positioning of
bait it?
Katsang, though. Because that's the thing. They don't know that Katsang's tucked around onto that corner. It's not the most usual place, because if they get a read on you, they'll probably get a kill on you. They can hit you quite easily. And the longer Katsang's there, the more of a problem he could be. The air jab is gone. And now they have the chance to rotate later on. I'm not sure if he got both, but he definitely at least got one. And you can see Miza was still holding and hoping that somebody would come around. Maybe they heard that or not. But They're at least doing some of the work about 30 seconds earlier, still currently setting themselves up for what seems like a laundry plant. They're missing the Jackal, but they've also still got a lot of players left to get through.
2 Foots being spotted there to know that. One is in the hallway, one is in a little cubby. It's Coda out there, yes, in the hallway. But Rin and spotted here inside of the freezer, and that might be problematic. Some missed air jab going through. They are getting the flashbangs in though, so they can get a grenade around the corner. Hopefully they will find someone with that, but the Magnet will be catching that, so not the case.
Rin getting a little bit aggressive. Yes, swings around. You can see Misa's getting the drone game on. There's the C4. Doesn't quite get the kill, but Woogieman down from the far side is able to find a kill over the top of the corner. Ooh, a great swing from Marble. They're able to at least bite in, but Rin bites back instantly. Misa, they're on the wrong side of a smoke canister, wanting to try and dive the way in. It buys perfect time here for Damwon Kia to just resettle. It's a 3 versus 2, and Misa has a different score. They want to settle as they try and bark and bite their way back through onto the site, and Hetty finds Rin. Suddenly, Talon are in a pretty good position. They do still have to try and get the kit down in only 15 seconds, but they know that there's a player behind Laundry. They want to bait the push. The flashes are coming through. Misa's going to see if they can maybe go for the swing. They take it. It's the 1 versus 2 situation. Katsang, he's got himself right tucked around the corner. If he just finds the man with the kit, well, he gets the man covering it. The kit goes down just in time. Suddenly, Misa, they've done huge bits on this round. They just have to take out one more Damwon Kia player here. Katsang, he's going for the swing round, moves away from the blind, tucked in round on the close box. It's a bit of a moment, a bit of a count for a tiny bit of audio here. Misa's just going to hold off the angle with the close cut, gets the shots, doesn't quite get the full connection. They know where he is. He's going on for the hold! Katsang removed by Misa.
For a second there, Misa even spotted the footsteps there, was able to keep track of where he was going with that one little drono inside the cubby there. A good clutch coming in from the side of Talon. A 4v2 turned around into a 2v2, and then a 1v2 post plant there. Well played by them. It was a good attempt of trying to bring it back. Unfortunately for Damwon Kia, it's not going to be a flawless half, at least not anywhere close now, because that first round is won by Talon, because they were quite on track to be receiving one here. And they're headed up towards the bedrooms again. The tactical timeout working wonders for Talon.
A success is definitely somewhere. It was 4 versus 5. They had a very early loss, and they were able to swing it back around, which isn't easy. I think one of the things that we got a bit of an idea there was they started to bite back instantly. I think from before we've seen Talon, it's not that they weren't sure about where Damwon Kia entirely was in those late engagements. They were in the early ones, but not in the late ones. But they would often try and take multiple sort of fights at once, lose a couple of ones, and then suddenly they're a bit stuck. Here they seemed to try and bite back quicker. They swung in, they lost that first, and then went for the second and were able to take it, which is a difference of pace that we haven't had from them in the first 3 rounds.
Hetty finding those kills inside the freezer, though, is absolutely crucial, as it allowed them to, of course, get into that position where Misa could push up, get that kill on the laundry machine, and get that plant down before the last very member coming through. Rin spotted, needs to be falling back again. The window will be watched by Demic from the bus, and Rin is deciding whether or not to go for it. Could lose you your life, Rin. Should have actually lost it there, but does stay alive somehow.
It's not the first time.
Why don't you just go through the kitchen? It's safe.
It's not the first time we've seen a Damwon Kia player just drift past the bottom of a white window and get absolutely torn up, but not die. And that's the important sort of fabric of the story there, is they're able to keep themselves going, and here they're able to at least keep themselves alive underneath. Talon have set themselves up this sort of web of information and drones around. They're seeing if they can get the catch. The Valkyrie cameras were pretty massive in the previous round in terms of Damwon Kia getting a lock-in, and it seems like they've kind of ignored that idea of trying to be a bit sneaky. The Nook is obviously gone. They're not getting themselves in quick onto Armory. They're going for, well, a loud take, because they know that they were spotted all the time before, so why not go flat? Why play those grenades underneath? Let's just get it open. Oh, they got him, and Demic got Katsang.
It's the entry kill, though, but most of the breach just have been taken care of by an impact grenade from Rin, and they're trying to fight back now as Marble is looking to put some damage up onto the roaming DK players as well. They need to hurry back towards the site, but look at what they have. They've just opened up 2 little view holes. That's all they can work with here. There's no plant coming out of this area.
Okay, well, I was going to say things were looking up with there being loud, but apparently they didn't have that cover on the player underneath, and a well-placed and played impact is able to at least tear through every single X-Kairos pretty much. Now they've got that tricky situation. How do we drive ourselves through? The drone did have a reveal on Yas. Yas does have the chance to move out of that territory and lock it up. There's still the reinforcement left in pocket, and at this point, Talon's trying to work out how they're doing it. White Stairs might be that approach here. Iana's able to get themselves all the way in, looking for where Coated is, holding on the corner. Coted's got to move. He's aware that it's soft underneath, and he can't stick there for too long. There goes the Banshee. There's a bit of the cover on front of the opposite floor. They've got themselves some angle. The burn of the flash round in the corner, the pressure of the smoke canisters to try and stop the entrance, but they're going to go for it anyway. The Hibana, they've snuck themselves through onto the default plant spot. They're tucked in, and Soldier tucks around the corner. They're able to find Coated on the far side, and most importantly, find the kid. No, it doesn't. They pulled themselves off. The second C4 doubled it down and found the fish at the end of the hook. It's a 3 versus 3. Massive damage to Yas and Rin. There's a little bit more, and suddenly they're now kind of clutching on, but with 10 seconds left, it's all down to Rin. Caught on the other side, can't quite get the tuck on the players. There it is! And Talon just drove into the site and held on for dear life.
There's nothing else they could have done there. They lost the diffuser with the second C4 coming out. The cover not quite on there. It was a good call. They went in deep. They managed to get through that smoke. No one actively watching it. Unfortunately, not that diffuser down. Made it quite close towards the end there, but luckily everybody was just in a slither of HP there, and that allowed them to clutch it out. It puts them up to 3-2, and the sense seems to be brought out here, but they might still be picked out with the repick. They might. So we have to wait and see whether or not we're going to see sense. I hope that we do.
You do?
I do hope that
Where
we
do you stand on the debate of what you call it?
I'm calling it the light screens.
The light screens?
Yeah, it's the light screen. It's literally what they call it in the patch notes as well. So I'm going with patch notes.
Well, you do go with patch notes a lot.
Yeah. So I don't understand the debate.
For those at home, medics are wonderful.
Yeah, he called me nerd.
Just called Happen nerd by our Archon system. I would agree. I call them. I like green screens.
But they're not really green.
Doesn't matter. What if you've got colorblind mode on? Does colorblind mode affect them?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't affect the lasers on the Claymore either. So.
Oh.
So they will stay turquoise.
3-2. 3-2. Talon, from the brink of absolutely being annihilated, have stepped up. And, you know, the performance that they had in the first 3 rounds is so different after that team talk. They've really found a different element of pace that they're bringing to this fight with Damwon Kia. Damwon Kia is still doing things like this. Yes, bumps up, gets Soldier around Zulu, and is actually looking for seconds. Pre-fires the angle, hoping someone else lent in. But the last time they were on the site, they got an early pick, and they lost that anyway. So Talon can still work with it. Same player as well. Different operator, though. Soldier bringing the role of the Ying rather than the Jackal. Or was it Soldier on the Jackal?
I think it was. Also, of course, picked the Sense before, but repicked out. And, you know, the Ying was probably meant for a bit of a quick rush if you wanted to go through the laundry again. Not going to be the case.
No.
Easily dispatched off. And that means they need to go back to what they did inside of round 4, but hopefully with a much less losses on their approach there.
Well, Misa's holding the rotation there. They're still going for a full clear. Whether they're cautious of someone being on the top floor or they just want to make sure that there isn't, it's a fair game because they've suffered at the hands of roaming and loose players before and they don't want to do it again. Here, a steady clear across the middle as well. A little bit slower than the previous round, but when you have an idea of how they're already trying to bite in, you've got to be cautious. The mute jammers, it's the dedication of the utility that is slowing things down. They're able to take care of that, push into the next room, push into the next space, but this is going to leave them about a minute to actually go for the execute.
I think they just called it. There's no one going to be upstairs. We're just going to have to abandon it. There's 1 minute 10 left on the clock. We're going to close with a shotgun here. He's going to swing on Marble. Gets the kill as well as the second entry on Damwon Kia before even a reply is there, but it's out of Talon. And I think they realized it well. There is no one upstairs. We need to focus into the site because there's not much time currently.
That's it. And with that electrified, you're going to have that Maverick make a bit of a rotation here and try and get some work done. It seems like for the first time they might put some pressure onto Blue and Tower Stairs, whether the loss of the Iana is the difference alongside the Candela. Either way, it means that they're going to have to go for an alternate approach here, an approach that they haven't really done throughout this game at all. They've paid some attention to E-Box, but that was generally it. Demic down on the Tower Stairs. Katsang's playing the Shaiko position. Coated throws the canister, and Misa finds the head of Yas in the meantime, and there's almost the second. Swung right onto Katsang, who fires themselves back. Tucks into Harry Potter. There's Misa, though. Oh, no! Rotten timing, get the team kill. kill on the drop from the top. Damek finds one, and Misa finds Damek a little bit of a slip up. And with only 15 seconds left, they're tucked in into Iconic's corner here. Misa, they know about it though, take the kill. A double, they've got a lot to make up for. Pre-fires the angle on one of the players and tucks in to try and get the plant. No, pulls off and puts themselves back down. Heady with very important cover. They just have to find Rin. Rin finds them. Rin finds the planter.
And Damwon Kia managed to hold on because that rush that came through blue and from the backstairs suddenly managed to find a lot of momentum there. The team kill is unfortunate as the assassination came through and one of the players from Damwon Kia. It might have actually lost them the round into the end, but he did manage to get it back quite close. A 1v2, almost a post plan on the way, but just Damwon Kia that holds on and takes that 4-2 lead on their defensive half. Now going over to the attack, this is where they need to make the difference here. And we're starting off inside the bedrooms, not laundry or the basement like Damwon Kia did. It is going to be up on that very top floor. Yes, just shot him through that little wood door frame. That's how he managed to get the kill. Didn't even see him yet. It's the pre-fire that went through the wood with a penetration kill.
Okay, I mean 4-2, from what we saw before in the fight in the last round, it could have gone either way. It comes down to a 1 versus 2 clutch. Technically, it's a plant at that point, so it's 2 1 versus 1s, but at the same time, to get in that position off of the back of how the game started for Talon is huge. And now they have a little bit of that energy, that momentum. Damwon Kia, they've got some work to do here on their attack, and they're going to see if they can start it in however fashion Talon wanted to end it. The Candelas in the pocket on the side of Wookieeman. They're eyeing up the top floor, obviously, instead of the bottom, but they could try and angle themselves towards something a little bit sharp. The Arunagate and the extension here across the big space underneath is not the most common. That area of stage, it can be used as a rotation, but they've kind of set it up as a bit of prominence.
I want to keep it as a bit of safety there, force them to use utility if they want to get control of the area, but Damwon Kia doesn't seem to be too bothered about it yet because they want to go for a very default take, it seems like. Open up the master bedroom, just make sure you can dig yourself in deep behind the foosball table, and the reason why Yana is repelled up here, why we do see Yas here, is because he can just bounce a grenade around that corner, take care of any piece of utility that could be out on that wall, which is the mute jammer in this case, and maybe even Marble if he steps off at the very wrong time.
Well, Katsang's been able to drive himself a little bit closer. They're playing with the claws and hoping that they plant on that and they can get the catch in time. It's not the easiest to get put together, but you can see Damwon Kia, they're not overextending at this point. And they also have Yas in the position to bounce the grenades around the corner. The first, actually, I'm not sure how it didn't get any of those ADS.
I think it was wasted by the flashbangs to be tossed in before. Yeah, Katsang doesn't have any flashbangs left, so
okay.
Has wasted it. This is a bit early. He's going to get the... And they use an explosive as well.
They really wanted to ensure that didn't go off.
That was Rin actually that did it. With an impact, I believe. So Rin actually destroyed the mute jammer. Oh no, it was a C4. Okay, never mind. Well, that got more than it should have got.
It's kind of put a bit of a still on the game, though. You can see Damwon Kia has made the progress onto the door. The Arunagate gets locked in, but without the control of the other side, there's not much else they can do. At this point, Damwon Kia doesn't have a huge amount of time to work with. There goes the first claw, and there goes the second. Katsang, he's aware of that audio. There is obviously the catch of it underneath. I think they got shot from.
Who's underneath? I've no clue how to die. Oh, Coda was there, I think. Now, Rin is too far out. I think Coda just rotated back up. But he did manage to open up the wall, and that gives him an opportunity to go for a plant. However, that's a very good kill from Yas. Just saw the elbow of Misa. We'll be able to get rid of him there, and that opens up an opportunity to go for a plant.
Well, that's it. 30 seconds now, and I think Damwon Kia has still been trying to weigh the odds for most of this, but now they're seemingly... Okay, a second comes from the grenade straight onto the corner shield. Tucked in, he was just inside the corner of the door, but it does enough. The Candela start to pop off by the sounds of it. Round and Wookieeman getting control of Attic. They've pulled themselves off, but not far enough. Coated finds Soldier, and suddenly it's a 5 versus 2. It seems like it's gone off without really too much bells and whistles. They went from nothing 30 seconds ago to a 5 versus 1 plant execute here on the site itself. Damek at least finds one, stops it being a flawless, finds the second. With Rin pre-firing, at least gives you an angle to work with. But the SMG has 3 more to try and fight their way through, and they don't see any of them. Damwon Kia, slow start to a kind of landed finish.
It's one of those strange rounds where for a while nothing is really happening. Like they're just setting up their ways. All they did in the first 2 minutes was get rid of 2 ADSs and a Mew Gemmer. Then they tried to get the exothermic down. They got C forward, which also took out the Mew Gemmer and the exothermic charge. And then his last minute is when really everything starts to explode, but not until 30 seconds when they actually try and get the side and manage to get 3 entry kills.
I think that was the sort of surprise bit, was you went from
Literally 0 to 100.
literally 0 to 100, and the 100 didn't feel like it was massive. So if you're usually looking at a team that does what is pretty much a full execute, there was a little bit of work done on Trophy Door. The breach hadn't been truly done, but it was. It comes with a lot more fervor from a couple of different places. Outside of a breach being done at the sound of the Candela, suddenly Damwon was in sight with like a 5 versus 2, and it just sort of happened. And you know, it was, I guess, a little bit controlled, and it's come off the back of...
It didn't feel chaotic.
Yeah, it came off the back of good play and good teamwork, but it wasn't a panicked.
No, and that's weird when you have 20 seconds left on the clock and they're not in sight yet, and it feels like they're under control as they go in. Even though, you know, if one thing goes wrong, you lose that round. So
It was a very casual
it was a very casual slaughter at 20 seconds left in an important game for them. But, you know, power to them. They managed to get it there. So let's see if they can continue that as we head towards the basement now. The laundry up, and that means that you need to take care of that top floor. You need to take care of that first floor. Yes, actually finding the feet of Soldier, who needs to rotate back, and Marble will follow suit as well. But not before actually deciding, you know what, I can actually go back up. No one's really putting any pressure down so far.
So an almost 3-3 became a 5-2 now, and Talon are teetering dangerously close to the potential end of this game. The drone just caught out Marble, but I don't know if he saw it there. It was just on the banister. Either way, he's going to rotate out for a bit of safety. I think if the movement doesn't come a little bit after the first bit, then you're just going to have to sort of play yourself back. But he's done enough to draw some attention. They're going to have to recheck it, redrone it. You can see Rin goes for the clear as well. There was some pressure coming across from the side of Attic. They knew that it was a multifaceted bit of control here, and they have some idea that it's safe. They've done it a lot quicker than what we saw Talon do on their approaches. They're instantly trying to lock some pressure in here. It's a very well-run machine. No feet inside Freezer is kind of the big difference between their approach and Talon's, but it seems like they're angling for a little bit more control on this, the tower side.
Yeah, opening up some of these hatches as well, just to provide yourself some more flexibility when you do decide to go for it eventually. There's the freezer opened up. A Twitch drone now checking out. We'll be spotting out some magnets. Doesn't get much further than that, though. And DWG needs to make a decision now. And it seems like they're shifting around to go for a laundry push here. They saw what is safe. They saw where they're not at. And the one issue they have currently is that electric claw, but a single grenade will be dispatching that.
That's it. Bounce the grenade around the corner, get some control. Rin obviously has another one of these drones, and they're able to find that. They lose the drone. I think they got it.
No, they missed.
No. Ooh,
yeah, that's what I thought.
That's tricky. That's tough. And there's the grenade. They wanted to try and save the utility of the grenade with the Twitch drone. It didn't. They lost the drone, they lost the grenade, and they lost about 10 seconds.
Yeah, they did. And now if you see Talon very stuck up on a bit of a line, aiming towards the laundry area. Yes, however, rotating back in. He's not going for that blue push. But all they really need is to take care of the cubby, take care of that hallway. You can potentially go for a plant as you go through.
Well, here, 20 seconds. They've got control of Freezer. I said they ignored it for first, but Soldier, he gets caught out through his own special glasses. A spray back over from Misa. Gets some cover. There it is. The drive down from the opposite side. Katsang's down. Another one for Misa, who has been on fire at moments throughout this game. Marble has the lockdown on the final loose thread. Woogieman around the corner. They've got the cover on the plant. Coet's going to see if he can get it stuck. Marble is all that's left now, and they just miss the coverer. They were able to almost get it into this situation. A technical. 2 versus 1 now with that final lock-off. There's the triple for the round. It would have to be an ace clutch out of here, technically, although Mizu was able to credit for a couple of kills, and they have time to put their drones down. There's the drop and one from before. They obviously have the hatch open. They have the pressure. They have the chance at a swing. They're going to hold. They're going to hit 2. They're going to hit 3. There's the drop on the player. Went for it. Couldn't get it in. DWG sit on map point.
I was afraid for a second there. Both of them managed to get up. They could have actually gone for that defuse if they weren't as quick through that hatch eventually. Woogieman getting that kill from the freezer to end it all off, and that puts us up to 6-2. Match point, 4 of them in total for DWG to try and establish themselves as the very first seed and put 3 points behind themselves up towards Talon as an extra buffer to make sure they maintain. Now, Laundry again to be brought out. Talon see that there is an opportunity there. They realize what was going wrong and they will adapt to it. At least I expect them to. I mean, it didn't really help Soldier dying from the freezer there, activating those smart glasses, unable to actually get the kill. And the better of Boogeyman, who was holding a very tight angle, might have actually been able to see him there.
Oh, Damwon Kia. I mean, it was close to the wire, and I think that's the story here for Talon. I know we sort of talked about it in the desk did at the very beginning of this, is they're sitting in second, but they're sitting in second after beating a couple of more favorable opponents, and with only 2 teams being able to graduate from this, it puts you in a tricky situation. It became this moment of, if this was going to be a first true test, there's a couple of rounds where they've looked entirely lost, and a couple of rounds where it's looked really close, and... yeah. That's a really tricky thing when you're looking at a 6-2 scoreline, is it probably still would be Damwon Kia's lead, but it feels like it should be a little bit closer than this.
It could have been closer, for sure. And as Yas quickly gets himself inside that tower, Marble is right underneath. He's going for the hunt here. Quickly jumping back down. Marble has absolutely no clue he's being hunted, I think. He's holding a very tight angle. But of course, the Amaru not going to be moving up much further here. Yas waiting for some drones, just holding an angle for now. And Marble aware, heard it. He's not moving. As soon as he moves, he will give away that position, and that is the one advantage he currently has until the drones start coming in. So really needs to play patiently here. Hope Yas is going to be overstepping himself here so he can pick up an entry.
That's it. And you can see Cat Sang, I think they're steadily droning themselves, or is that the floor below? No, it's Rin. Actually, it's going to be droning their way across, trying to apply the pressure here. They're looking for that loose player, and it is just musical statues. It's until the music starts, until the whir of the drone is that sound, they are stuck in location. Marble pulls back. Just as Rion was starting to round the corner and put some pressure a bit flat, Yas is able to then move themselves, and here is once again the opener control over tower stairs.
Wants to know if there's not someone hiding on the back of the tower there, gets a little ping out, the drone comes through, and with that it has been secured. Yas now pushing up on those back stairs, takes care of the barbed wire, an EMP used as well to make sure that this hatch onto the E-box will be opened up, and that really shows you that it could be shaping up to be a backstairs take here, but if you look at the positions of Damwon Kia, they're definitely all the way on the other side.
Okay, Damwon Kia, are you going to go for a bit of a rotate before as you've played, or are you going to go with plan A? There's been slight differences, and now you have the E-box hatch open. You have a little bit more in terms of what you want to do in your business of control here. Talon, as I said before, they bit back well. There was a couple of slipped moments, but the work of Misa and Marble are at least able to drive some of that pressure, and you can't keep relying on that sort of moment here. Demic has had a pretty solid game, and they are going to be a bit of a brunt force that they might meet on the start of the Laundry side. But it seems like there's a bit more of an awareness here over towards the pressure they can apply to Marble and Heady. Yas burns it out, draws some attention, draws a smoke canister, and Marble moves a little bit out of the Shaiko spot as Rin drones from the bottom side. But once again, with the pressure and the pings of the proxies, they're going to start their approach here onto Laundry.
Bit of a bait there is going to be helping them potentially here as Cody gets the very first kill, is holding onto the rotation. Soldier and Misa though will both strike back. Rin descending from the stairs will not find a player inside of blue, and that leaves them in that 2v4 situation that is going to be very hard to clutch with 20 seconds on the clock.
I think that's it. The timer is so close to the wire. Coated. They want to try and get a catch here on the player inside blue, and they find it. Marble gets locked down with a hot drop from the hatch, but Misa hits back instantly. Less than 10 seconds, and Yas is being hit by the procs. They know where he is, and they know what to do with it. They find another round. 6-3. 3 more to try and get this into OT.
Good adaptation there. Actually like what Damwon Kia was doing up for the most part of it, especially Yas going up towards the barrels, tossing some flashbangs through, forcing them to smoke, forcing someone to be watching that door, because you take away so much attention from the rest of the map that they can actually try and maybe go for a push. Unfortunately though, the Talon members were ready. They were still able to strike back as soon as that first kill did go in favor of Damwon Kia, and that keeps them one extra round. 6-3, but still 3 match points against them. Still 3 rounds that they need to win if they want to have an opportunity at the win.
I think that's the tricky thing right now, is that is Talon's first defense win.
Yeah.
It's, you know, 2 swings, 2 misses, and they finally find a hit, but now they've got to try and do that on sites that are either untested or that they've lost. And they've chosen untested first. They're not going to go back to dorms strictly. They're going to see if they can try and make what is, you assume, their first stack-up tertiary site be the one that brings them some success, and then go back for the rotation, because either way they got to play the site, so may as well try it when they might have some other ideas and some freshness working in their favor.
Yep, but either way, they will have to play the bedroom as well, the dorms upstairs, so they need to make sure they're making the right decisions here to go for the right order of things. Just go what you feel more comfortable with at that very moment. I think that is very important now for the side of TALON, just so they can try and get as many rounds on the board, because we know every round will count at the end of the day. Rin, quickly inside the small tower. We'll be pushing forward towards those white stairs. There could be someone inside the security though, but with this, they've basically completely cut off part of the map already, as Rin is playing in that corner.
Yeah, that was so fast. Rin, within 25 seconds, was set up there onto shower corridor, watching towards the rotate on the backside of the site. You don't usually see a plant onto there. You can do it, but it means you've got to get this control over the top floor, which, to be honest, seems like DK are setting themselves up for here. The air jab means they can't get the rotation out. Marble is the one tucked up in the corner on the second story. You've got to try and get the lock in here as they find a bit of a loose drone. Demic goes for the retake here around the outside of server onto the pressure on maybe even the white window. More drones in a rotation, do a bit of safety, but still, Damwon Kia showing their hand right now, and it's down to see if Yas can be the one that breaks it with an approach on the far side on tower.
Gonna have to wait and see where the first strike will be. Security definitely could be that first area of attack as well, as Koda sneaking in from that top floor. Gets some pings, I believe, onto a player inside of Attic, and as Demic actually manages to sneak down back towards that bottom floor, they might be hunting him as well at the very same time.
Well, Marble, how long can you survive up here? That sort of becomes the game of this. They're locking off the approach onto the hatch. They're just going to see if they can tuck themselves around onto the corner. And again, how long can you survive up here? The pressure comes against the wall, against the side of them. And with some support from underneath, it's still not enough to at least entirely ensure safety. But there, with the break and the breach on the bottom of the wall, he knows it's just a moment of time before someone is holding the drop, so may as well take it and keep his life. He's played it well up there. You're trying to waste time and utility, and he's been able to take both out of the pockets of the approach. Damwon Kia, they set themselves up to try and pay some attention now towards the floorboards. Open up some semblance of safety here as Yas is still held on the far side. Soldier locked down around on the bottom of the stairs. They're just making sure that there's some attention and lockdown paid towards the rotate.
Two players of Damwon Kia actually watching for flanks. They're afraid that someone will be popping up in the back of it as Katsing is going for the plant, but the smoke canister is stopping him from doing so. Soldier finds the entry onto Yas, and this kind of ruined their momentum that Damwon Kia tried to build up. They need to dig themselves in deep again, and if we look over to the side of the smoke, no canisters left. So there is an opportunity to go for it, but you will start to get swung on.
That's it. That was the last one. They used two to try and buy the time on the second story, and they used one perfectly there, but 20 seconds down on Kia. They know exactly where they want to plant, and they don't really have a plan B or another option at this point. The flash is round on the swing. The lock-in on a slightly wider angle here from Hetty to see if they can get the catch in a slightly different plant spot, but Miza's on the rotation round on the far side. There it is. Woogieman gets a very important cover, but it's Soldier finding Rin over the top, and it's back and forth. Miza swings round, and now it's just Woogieman left and locked down. They have the vertical control. They have a play around on the swing onto white. They have two that's inside the site itself. Soldier is watching, but without Woogie, they have nothing, and Woogieman's got himself a very good rotate. Is he going all the way to the top as the air jab pops off? They're trying to find the player and the man.
So
he's found himself all the way to the top floor. He just needs to get the catch. There it is, the first. He pulls back and tucks round. The flashes so they don't quite get the full angle on him, and Woogieman, he moves himself back. He's waiting for a rotate. The second is watching the angle. The first is going to go for it. The flash comes through. The pre-fire finds him, and TALON just connect the dots for the round.
I was about to be writing this down as a play of the week for Woogieman if he was able to clutch it out, but unfortunately for him, he didn't. As TALON, you know, they just had to go for it. There was no time to rotate back up. They needed to get the cover down to the point of it, and they did manage to eventually get it. Woogieman just slipped out underneath them, though. Managed to get that top floor, managed to get that control. Could have been absolutely detrimental for TALON. Could have ended the game, but somehow they still hang on. And we're headed towards the top floor now, towards the bedroom, where we saw Damwon Kia win earlier on. Let's see if they can do that again. Or if we're headed towards a round 12, potentially. Now, let's see if there's any changes. We do see the Warden still out there, and understandably so, for the amount of smokes and flashbangs we've seen used to actually blind people. Usually flashbangs are used to get rid of ADSs. But Damwon Kia actually likes to use them to, like their intended purpose, you can almost say, flash people.
I mean, it was perfectly played by Woogieman. There's nothing that Woogieman did wrong in a 3 versus 1 situation.
No.
The impossibilities are stacked. And to try and almost swing that round to success, hey, it's Woogieman.
It was a single bullet and he would have won it. It's like if he managed to get the plant, like the diffuser or the counter diffuser, that would have been it. There wouldn't have been enough time potentially to still get back on if the trade needed to happen. But that is in the past, and we have another round up ahead from us. Talon still fighting for survival here, and as they seemed a bit lost earlier on, they're starting to get back into it here. But is it too little too late? The big question that is left to be answered. As DWG, yes, they're starting to slip a little bit here and there, but all they need is one successful attack. And Marble just almost getting his feet shut underneath him.
I mean, I said it a couple of rounds ago when it was 6-2 that it feels like it should already be a closer game statistically. Talon are proving that right now, and I mean, the further they go, it could feel like if they'd have had some of the energy over these past few rounds and over their last few attacks they did on the opening 3, it could have been a Talon game, which in a league where only 2 teams make it to that major is such a devastating blow for a team that has forever been knocking on that door of the top dogs. Katsang with the pressure now onto Walken. They're getting themselves a more straightforward approach here, and it doesn't seem like there's anything instantly to try and break it against. With Thatcher on the board, there's no Kaid floor tricks to be played, and we saw a lot of messy impacts before, but this time no go. Marble's tucked in the corner. Yas in a pressure to try a position to apply some pressure with a grenade. Almost catches the rotating player there, trying to pre-fire somewhere else. It's Woogie, though, that finishes them off.
Woogie absolutely on one game here. One hell of a game. He has 14 kills so far. Almost managed to get that very last round as well. And as more APs come out, that will disable the ADSs and allow these grenades to start coming through. But I believe it was just mistimed because the first one got caught. The shield taken care of now, though. And that will force Hetty to play a bit more patiently here.
Oh, that's it. They were able to do that very cleanly last time around, and this time no such success, but the shield is probably the biggest draw at that point. The bulletproof, not quite caught. They're also potentially hoping for a player there, and that's the bigger draw, but the Candelas start to roll their way through, all the way back to Misa, who cannot quite get the full sight. Coated has to rotate all the way in. Hetty is blinded round on the corner. There's the pre-fire underneath. They're able to do a lot of damage, finds the lock-in. Hetty goes for the swing and gets a bit of revenge there. There's the pop of the canister, and Katsang, he's looking for a safe plant to plant, but look at Soldier underneath. He loses the fight out to Rin. Demic's going for the rotate round, and it's Yas that gets Hetty. Now it is just Demic left. They have the control over double window. They're going to take that fight first, but at the same time, Rin disagrees, and DWG just push it over the line for the full 3 points.
I'm just going to have to give credit to the Sledge as the Candelas went out. You saw the Warden sit in the corner. You could not have jumped in. Woogieman could not have jumped in. Would have been taken care of. Could have swapped everything around. The Sledge jumping through, going prone, shooting out the feed underneath from the Warden suddenly opens up their side so much more to the rest of DWG. And they take a victory here. A well-earned victory. But at the same time, Talon, they could have made it closer. It could have been an overtime in this given moment right now, but the 3 points do go to DWG, and with that, they put, I believe, 4 now in between themselves and Talon.
I think it's one of the things that we sometimes say, if all of our predictions are unanimous, we'll say that it's going to be a closer game when we predicted it. I think, in fairness, from a lot of people, we expected DWG to probably do a little bit more damage to Talon. Talon had a really good game and fight after the first 3 rounds here, and it still has the idea of growing more. Commiserations today, but still, I mean, maybe second isn't out of it yet. We'll throw it to a quick break before we're back with the desk.